I hope you all are just as excited about me about this fairy tale convention, and I'm just going to jump right into my paper if you don't mind. It's entitled Behavior in the Face of Temptation. Many consider fairy tales to be timeless pieces of art as they are passed down from generation to generation. As time passes, however, certain aspects and themes central to fairy tales are often altered to create entirely new versions of the original stories. A modern version of one such timeless tale is director Dwayne Journey's 2013 film Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, which is loosely based upon the Grimm brothers' fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. As the primary purpose of the original fairy tale was to provide children a cautionary lesson with regards to temptation and behavior around strangers, Hansel and Gretel Gets Baked offers a similar cautionary message regarding both temptation and interaction with unknown drug dealers. While the siblings in the Grimm brothers' tale were young children, the contemporary version of this story features the duo as California teenagers in order to introduce mature themes and subject matter. The catalyst of the original story, food deprivation, is replaced in Hansel and Gretel Get Baked by the pursuit of both cannabis and correspondingly food. Thus, much of the action in the two versions is strikingly similar, as gluttony is a central component of both. By altering the original story's subject matter from pursuit of food to pursuit of marijuana, however, Hansel and Gretel Get Baked appeals to an older audience while emphasizing new manners of temptation and means of overcoming them in the modern world. In the Grimm brothers' original tale of Hansel and Gretel, the central catalyst to nearly all of the story's action is food deprivation. Due to lack of food, the evil stepmother is compelled to manipulate her husband and leave his children to die in the forest. In this manner, the stepmother would indulge in her temptation for food without regards for anyone around her. The temptation causing the stepmother's greed is particularly evident when Hansel and Gretel are able to return home, cunningly using pebbles to mark their path after being left for dead. The stepmother exclaims to her husband, "Everything is eaten again. We have only one half left, and that is the end. The children must go. We will take them further into the woods so that they will not find their way out again. There is no other means of saving ourselves." The husband, in disagreement, subsequently thinks, "It would be better for you to share the last mouthful with your children." And the stepmother is somehow able to hear what he's thinking and manipulates him into following through with her plan. In this apparently magical manner of reading minds, the stepmother utilizes food to manipulate her husband into deserting his children for the second time, highlighting the story's themes of gluttony and temptation. By becoming victims of their stepmother's greed, Hansel and Gretel are left to die in the woods a second time and are overcome by hunger, placing the siblings in their own position of greed. Due to their starvation, the discovery of a life-size gingerbread house certainly causes a large degree of temptation. Upon making this enticing discovery, Hansel declares, we will set to work on that and have a good meal. I will eat a bit of the roof, and you, Gretel, can eat some of the window. It will taste sweet." The tantalization of the house is clearly evident as the siblings immediately devour the delicious home without any consideration for whom the house belongs. As a result of the children's lack of inhibition, the evil witch emerges from her home and locks up Hansel to fatten and eat him. This witch utilizes her gingerbread house to tempt children into approaching her, so that she can indulge in her own cravings of eating children. Temptation has obviously become a central theme of the story at this point, as the actions of the stepmother, father, siblings, and witch are all deeply influenced by the allurement of food. Hansel and Gretel are both in extreme danger of being eaten at this point, while cunning becomes their only means of escaping the witch's greed. After the evil witch decides Hansel is fat enough to eat, she heats an oven and tells Gretel to get inside the oven to test its heat. Gretel, untrusting of the witch, wisely asks as if she doesn't know how to get in. In response, the witch exclaims, "Silly goose, the door is big enough. Just look, I can get in myself." Gretel then pushes the witch into the oven, killing her. In this manner, Gretel cunningly utilizes her youthfulness and willpower to defeat evil and free her brother, taking advantage of the tendency of adults to assume that children are uninformed and uneducated. In reward for Gretel's wit regarding interaction with strangers, the siblings find countless jewels and discover that their evil stepmother is also dead upon returning to their father. Evidently, the siblings were able to overcome their temptation of the gingerbread house as they decided to return home to their father as opposed to staying at the gingerbread house to indulge in whatever food they desire for the rest of their lives. The characters that were unable to manage these impulses regarding food, namely the evil stepmother and witch, were simultaneously doomed to death. The ability of Hansel and Gretel to manage the repercussions of overindulgence and overcome these temptations demonstrates a heightened level of maturity gained throughout the story, which is the primary message of the Brothers Grimm, Hansel and Gretel. Identical themes of the importance of impulse inhibition and the use of cunning around strangers are prevalent in the modern film Hansel and Gretel Get Baked. However, alterations are made to the film's subject matter so that these themes are applicable toward a contemporary young adult audience. The role of the evil stepmother in the original story, as the antagonist provoking the siblings' initial isolation, is replaced in the film by parental negligence. In fact, Hansel and Gretel's parents are gone for the weekend and absent from the film story, leaving the teens alone to ingest cannabis freely in their home. Additionally, the original story's theme of temptation takes the form of cannabis and its corresponding longing for food in the film version. In this manner, the allurement of food remains a central catalyst in the plot of the film version, as in the original. However, this longing in the film stems from munchies and addiction as opposed to genuine starvation. The evil witch in the film is a drug dealer in Pasadena who utilizes her own magical strain of cannabis, Black Forest weed, to bait teenagers into coming inside her home. In a manner similar to Gretel's cunning in the original Brothers Grimm tale, the old witch utilizes the assumption that people of old age are feeble and unthreatening. Through both of these means of attracting youth, Gretel's boyfriend is baited into visiting the witch's home to satisfy his craving for Black Forest cannabis, but is unable to control his actions when the witch tells him not to touch her gingerbread house. The witch's magic, present in both her marijuana and command, leaves Gretel's boyfriend no choice other than to devour her gingerbread house and find various Nazi Germany-related objects within, causing the witch to eat him. Thus, the evil witch of the film version uses nearly identical means of tempting youthful prey into her home as the witch of the original fairy tale by utilizing an adolescent craving as bait. The Brothers Grimm witch's life-size gingerbread house, however, is substituted in the film by the contemporary witch's magical marijuana in order to represent a common temptation faced by teenagers in modern society. With each teenager that the witch kills, she gains back some of her own youth. Thus, the witch is satisfying her own cravings for both food and youth as she consumes teenagers, while her inability to resist these compulsions for cannibalism and corresponding beauty eventually result in the downfall of her cultivation and murderous operations. After the witch eats Gretel's boyfriend, cunning and bravery become the only means of discovering the truth regarding the witch's nature in order to protect further teenagers from being eaten. Gretel, realizing that her boyfriend is missing, attempts to discover the cause of his disappearance by visiting the witch herself after police officers refuse to believe her story. Hansel's guile and bravery become crucial to the rescue of his sister when Gretel is made a captive of the witch after she becomes lost within a forest of endless cannabis plants in the witch's basement. When Hansel discovers via email that Gretel has gone to the witch's house to investigate, Hansel courageously decides to immediately follow her. When the younger-looking drug-dealing witch denies ever seeing Gretel, Hansel becomes suspicious and wisely takes a picture of the witch. Incredibly, this picture reveals the true identity of the witch, as she appears to be hundreds of years old, her actual age. In this manner, Hansel's wit and courage enable him to immediately identify the seemingly harmless drug dealer as an evil witch. Despite killing a zombie created by the evil witch, Hansel is knocked out and placed in the oven room for cooking preparation. Gretel is simultaneously able to escape captivity by cleverly singing the witch's demonic dog to sleep, and manages to push the witch into the oven just before she begins to cook Hansel. The house subsequently explodes, destroying the witch's marijuana and seemingly killing the witch as well. Thus, the siblings' bravery and cunning in the face of tremendous peril was absolutely crucial to their survival. Additionally, their cohesiveness and concern for one another enabled Hansel to preoccupy the witch and grant Gretel sufficient time to escape captivity, along with enabling Gretel to subsequently rescue Hansel from being baked in the oven. Furthermore, Gretel demonstrated that she overcame the temptation of marijuana by wholeheartedly searching for her boyfriend throughout the cannabis forest, as opposed to simply stealing the magical drugs that she formerly craved so desperately. Characters in the film who failed to conquer this temptation all experienced the same fate of death, including Gretel's boyfriend and various drug dealers who also visit the evil witch's home in search of marijuana. When compared to the Brothers Grimm, Hansel and Gretel, The film adaptation, Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, highlights the differences in problem solving by children versus the methods used by teenagers. In both versions of the story, the siblings' greatest danger is caused by their indulgence of a temptation. By changing the catalyst of the story from food deprivation to pursuit of marijuana, however, the film demonstrates a likely dilemma for certain California teenagers, as a lack of food is an uncommon predicament for middle-class Americans. By making Hansel and Gretel older in the film, these stories together demonstrate the notion that small juveniles can escape threatening situations by utilizing their perceived childishness, while teenagers must utilize different methods in the face of danger. According to the film, unity and care among friends, along with high degrees of wit and bravery, are the most important factors for modern teenagers to escape dangerous incidents. Thus, the contemporary film provides similar cautionary messages as the original version of avoiding allurement and averting danger, yet its shift from childish to adult subject matter enables this advisory guidance to reach an older audience in quite a humorous manner. That's all for my paper. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you guys coming out to listen to it.
Fairy tales.